Welcome to Quilting Kentucky Stories, a special series from Tales from the Kentucky Room. I am Sylvia Lovely, coach, teacher of writing, and particularly writing the stories of your life. The stories you will hear, most of them are from my writing students in the Carnegie Center for Literacy and Learning class entitled Writing the Stories of Your Life, or from opportunities I have had to coach budding writers. Some of these stories are funny, some sad, and sometimes both. They are not lengthy, but each adds on an exclamation point to life. This is Retha Hicks with Pants.
In 1971, the teachers at my school had a secret meeting and made a plan to wear pantsuits to school the next day. We had heard that other female teachers in Fayette County schools were wearing pantsuits to school, and we also wanted to wear them. Before we got back to our classrooms, the principal came over the intercom and asked that all teachers come to the library for an emergency faculty meeting. There was one subject on the agenda. He warned us that if any of the women ever showed up in pants, we would be fired on grounds of insubordination. It was clear that he'd been tipped off. After school that evening, the phone lines were hot in a show of unity. We all agreed to our plan that we would wear pants to school the next day. The next morning, I wore my best pantsuit. Remember, it was a momentous occasion. Among the many details I remember to this day that pantsuit. It was short sleeve, it was light blue, it had white buttons that buttoned down the front, and it had a pointed collar trimmed in white. The loose-fitted pants were the same color, and the top of the legs that were loose met at my ankles. Now, I was nervous while driving to school, but I knew it was going to be a right thing to do. I was resolved in my goal to prove that women could make good decisions about themselves and what to wear, so long it was respectful and in good taste. Apparently, the principal had his own ideas about what that was. So I stepped through the door, and as I did, I immediately ran into two co-conspirators who were obviously not in pants. In shock, I blurted out, "I thought you were wearing pants today." Sheepishly, looking down at the floor, they offered up that their husbands had overheard their phone conversations and forbid them to wear pants to work. Walking toward my room and trying to process what I'd just heard, I realized from looking all around that I was the only female teacher who had shown up in pants. Before I could set my bags down, the principal came on the intercom and he called me to his office. I cannot describe my feeling of terror and how sick I felt in my stomach, certain that I was going to be fired. I was so out of breath and my heart was pounding, but I walked down those halls, and in taking what seemed like eternity to get to the principal's office, I passed my fellow teachers who had so let me down. They were standing in their doors, some with their hands on their heart, some with their hands folded like they were praying. I felt as if my heart would leap out of my chest. So over and over again, I said to myself, "Lord, don't let me cry. Lord, don't let me cry." As I approached the principal's office, I saw that his door was open and that he was waiting for me. He motioned for me to sit down in the chair in front of his desk. He used his stern voice that I had heard him use a lot with his disciplining students. "I am the boss here, and what I say goes. It is important that teachers set a good example for their students in the way they dress, in the way they act, and especially in the way they follow directions from their superiors." Then he grew quiet. He took a deep breath, and then he gave me the surprise of my life. He said, "I'm not a dictator as most of you think. I now realize that you are more covered up in those pants than you are when you wear short skirts. So I'm going to let this slide this time. But from now on, when I tell you that you can't do something, I will be watching to make sure you follow my directions." As I left his office, I smiled at all the teachers standing in their classroom doors, waiting for me. Seeing my obvious relief that was evident without words, some of them gave me the thumbs up, some threw me a kiss, and others nodded with smiles. But I just wanted to go somewhere all by myself to let go of the storm of tears that I had held in. The next day, most of the teachers at my school were wearing their pantsuits. I felt that in some small way, I had made a difference in our lives moving forward. It wasn't a complete victory, but an important step for all of us, including the principal.
Thanks for listening to Quilting Kentucky Stories, a special series from Tales from the Kentucky Room. If you want to hear more episodes like these, you can subscribe, rate, and review Tales from the Kentucky Room on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can visit us at lexpublib.org/podcasts. That's lexpublib.org/podcasts. We'll be back with another patch for the quilt of Kentucky stories.